When you have just started a creative business, it's very important that you build up a portfolio that you can later show to clients. And in my case, a product photography portfolio. And in this video, I'll show you how I made these photos just from my living room. We shall cover 3 different sets or scenes, what gear I used to make these photos, and at the end of the video, I'll share some valuable lessons that I've learned so far about product photography. If you're thinking about or currently building your own portfolio to show to potential clients, this video is definitely for you. First one out is the Chemex coffee maker. As a coffee person, I definitely want to take product photos of coffee or coffee related things, and the Chemex is just lovely. The perfect candidate that I'm definitely going to have in my portfolio. Second would be camera gear. That makes for excellent product shots, especially the lenses. Very product portfolio friendly. I also have a Mule traditional razor. This razor looks amazing in itself, and with loads of shiny surfaces, it's a challenging and great candidate for some cool product shots. Now, these are things that I already have. I've got plenty more things that I want to photograph at some point later lying around the house, but I thought I'm not going to just buy things for the sake of buying them so I can build a product portfolio. So I thought, what do I have that I really enjoy using? And if you enjoy using something, you would probably put more effort into presenting them in a best possible way. Definitely something you could think about if you're doing this yourself. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, which is of course gear. It's very simple. I use my Sony A7 Mark IV and the 24-105 f4.0 lens, a monopod from iFootage, which is very handy to have the camera on, and a few lights. I use the new iFootage lights, and I'll link to everything in the description. Now let's start with the very first shoot I did. For this first shoot, I used a small IKEA desk that I set up in my living room, one side facing the large window that would serve as a light source. Since I wanted to have a dark backdrop, I used 2 large pieces of black foam board that you can get at most hobby stores for around $5, I think, each. Another light was added on the opposite side of the window, and I played around with a few kicker lights as well to see how the light affected my results. Light is very important, and the cool thing about a setting like this is that you have full control of the light, so you can really play around and gain experience to find out what works and what doesn't. Here are a few of the images I took from this shoot. Please do let me know in the comments what you think. That would be awesome. Personally, I was very happy to see when I finally managed to create light edges on each side of the product. I think it looks pretty cool, and it's particularly useful when shooting dark objects against a dark background. You can achieve this by placing the light slightly behind your product and shine towards the edges of the product. And that's how you create this thin line of light on the edges of your product. Try for yourself and see what works. The reflection in these images was made possible with a large piece of black glass. It's the tabletop of my outside table. It's a little bit scratched, black glass. I don't think that matters. Again, use things around your house and be creative. You don't have to make this an expensive effort at all. I was also selling off my big Sony 100-400 telephoto lens, and a perfect excuse to make some high quality photos of just that. If you have sold anything online, you know how important good pictures are. Listing the lens with these images was made sure it was sold off quite quickly. 2 birds in 1 stone right there. The second shoot was a similar setup using that glass plate again. I think that looked really cool. Same principles here, big window on one side and a light on the other side, and voila! More photos for the portfolio, and this time it took less time to set up, building on the experience from the first shoot. And you really can get some high quality photos from a simple setup at home. On the note of spending less time, let's talk a little bit about time management. Keeping it simple to learn camera settings and light setting is a good idea. So is timing yourself. See how long time you spent to set up the first time, then the second time, until you know exactly where to place your lights, what camera angles to shoot from to get the different looks and expressions in your photos. Why timing yourself? Simply to give you an idea of how long it takes you to set up and edit all the photos, so you have a better idea of what to charge a client when he or she asks you you what you charge for these types of photos. On the first setup, I spent around 3 hours for the whole shoot, making adjustments along the way. On the second one, I spent only 1.5 hours. With the experience I gained from the first shoot, I cut the time almost in half. So it just goes to show how important it is to practice on a regular basis and really nail that setup you want for the different looks of your photos. If you're finding this helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. That would be awesome. Thank you. As you can see, I have a lot of dark background photos, and the final setting photographing this razor is no different. Setting up took even less time. Did a few test shots of this shaving cream tube while figuring out the light. In this one, the light edges was too harsh, so I adjusted the lights until I had a better presentation of this product, and that would be the starting point for the rest of the shoot. The razor looks great, and if you look on the top of the razor, I had to use a large piece of white foam board as a reflector to really show the whole product. Found it very difficult to really emphasize this part of the razor right here because it was just simply too dark against the background. So by adding a reflector that could really light up that top area that would be dark otherwise, solved the problem. Again, I was just playing around with the lights and a big piece of white foam board as a reflector. A small light was also used to brighten up the shaft of the razor and the brush itself, as this is made from dark wood and needed that little extra kick of light. And I used a new HL1C4 from iFootage, this little guy right here. A very good small kicker light, and it's RGB as well, but more on that in not the next episode but the next one after that, where I'm going to make a small YouTube studio that doubles as a product photography studio right here from home. So definitely subscribe just for that. Here are some more photos where I tried to make a nice little scene, but I didn't really like these. They were just too hectic with too many objects, so I removed a couple of them, but keeping that old brass mirror in the back. And you can see the color texture in the back there. It's just a reflection of my main light shining on the brass mirror, and I think that turned out quite good. In the first couple of shots, the color reflection came out directly behind the product, which didn't look so good, but with a tiny adjustment to the side, it made all the difference. In other words, pay attention to details and make small adjustments, because those small adjustments can really make or break an image. We are getting to the end of this video, and here are a few valuable lessons I learned from these 3 shoots. Keep it simple in the beginning and pay attention to how light affects the images. The best way to try this, or the best way to learn, is to do it for yourself. You need much less space than you think, and I can easily get away with just using half my dining table in my living room. And the same goes with gear. Obviously, you need a camera and a lens. I do have a few lights, but it's really not necessary, I think. I could get away with just using that big window in my living room as the only source of light. So if you don't have any lights, no problem, use a big window as the light source. A tripod or a monopod is a must. Same is a chair, a good chair to sit in if you are doing a longer session with loads of products. Use gloves to avoid finger marks on shiny products like the razor. Dust and finger marks show really well, so have a microfiber cloth and a dust blower nearby. As for lenses, you don't need a fancy, super fast, very expensive lens. Everything I've done so far with product photography has been with my 24-105 f4.0 Sony G lens, and I've shot most of the photos, or the best ones, between f5.6 and f11. And I dare say that you can do the exact same thing, get the exact same results with almost any new camera system with a kit lens. So that's something to think about. You don't need all that fancy gear to get started. Understanding how light works is much more important. If you like this video or found it helpful, I would very much appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe if you aren't already. Also, if there was anything that was unclear about the video, if you have any questions, please do ask them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the next episode, we are going to my hometown of Arendal. I was collaborating with a local brand there. They're called Arendal Leather, and they make some excellent handmade leather products. So I went to their shop and did an on-location product photography shoot. So that's a great way if you are just starting out to build a portfolio portfolio, you get to help a local brand, and you also get to use their logo if they use your images. That way you can also get your name out there. So just bonuses all over the line. And if you want to see that video, please do hit the bell icon. That way you'll get a notification of when that comes out next week. And I hope to see you there. Bye bye.